Hey, it's Heidi. Welcome home. Happened again yesterday. I was in Zumba class, per usual, and I'm in the Zumba zone. Okay, I don't know. Do you know what the Zumba zone is? For me, I get totally lost in the music, and I just start like going a little wild. I go a little bit bananas, and I'm in the zone, and I'm doing my Zumba thing. And listen, when I tell you it can look like a rogue episode of Toddlers and Tiaras, my facial expression and my body and my body movements, it could look like pretty scary. And I'm doing my thing, right? And I'm like doing my thing. And I'm like I had a moment where I caught myself in the mirror and I thought, man, pretty weird. I'm weird. Weird. Okay. Now, then I immediately searched for evidence that I was a little bit weird. So I looked around at the other 77 Zumba participants, and they were all kind of just like pretty normally going about their Zumba business. Their facial expressions matching the level of intensity of the things that they were doing, but there was no toddlers and tiaras going on. And I thought to myself, man, I am freaking weird. That's right. And it's not the first time that I've felt that way. Like, cue, one of these kids is doing his own thing. Is that Sesame Street or Electric Company? Anyway, not the first time I've had that thought. And look, a lot of us feel like we're weird or different or not normal. And I'm not talking about being different for the sake of being different. Like, oh, it's cool. I'm going to be different. I'm going to stand out. I'm not like everybody else. I think my weirdness is a little more organic and less contrived. Like, if I'm in my zone, I just find I'm naturally a strange bird. Okay. I mean, you can bear witness to my videos. You probably already know that about me. So then I thought, maybe you're different too. When is that not a good thing? Because for the most part, I enjoy being a little bit different. I like the fact that I don't want to do things like everybody else, but so when does it cross the line between being like, no, I don't want to stand up and give my neighbor a massage in the seminar, thank you. No, no thanks, not today. To, oh, this level of not normal is unhealthy and not good for me. Well, there's one area where not being so normal, because there is a normal, right? There really is like a baseline barometer for what's okay. Relationships is an area where you can't afford to guess at what normal is, but most of us are, if you're like the people I help, where we grew up or we came from a difficult background where kind of like effed upness is just like fine. It's fine, but like really it ain't fine. But your barometer for tolerance and settling and what you think is okay is a little bit more than the average bear. So what I decided to do with you is give you a short list of not so normal, otherwise known as unhealthy behaviors, so you can kind of spot yourself. And if you spot it, you got it, honey. But here's the good news. If you see yourself in one of these things, there's hope, because I actually know, because I saw myself in all these behaviors. The list I'm going to give you are 8 different things that are not so normal, and they're based on my attachment personality pattern methodology that you can find over on my site. And it really is these ways of being, I call them, in relationships that we adapt in order to thrive, survive, connect, or cope in our family of origin. And then we take these behaviors on into our relationships and we're like, is this normal? Is this normal? Now look, I'm going to give you a list today, but there are obvious things, other things that I'm not going to talk about today that ain't normal at all by any stretch of the imagination. So if you are in an abusive relationship that's not okay and you find you're tolerating or settling, please go to the National Abuse Hotline, thehotline.org, and get help that way. So for me, I'm talking about more like a baseline than not so normal, not so normalist, where maybe you're not thinking in these terms. You're thinking more drastic. It has to be so bad for you to think it's kind of effed up or messed up. But it doesn't have to be so bad in order for it to be bad. If you're in a relationship that has a low level of dissatisfaction, do you know that's enough for you? You don't have to wait for it to get so bad before you go, maybe this isn't normal. Maybe I deserve better than this, right? So let's go over the list, see if you see yourself, and if you do, again, a deeper dive always awaits you in a free consultation to see if we're a good fit. Well, let's get into it. I made a little list over here so I don't leave anything out. Okay, here's a short list. Number 1, control issues. Now, listen, when I make it big someday, because we all know, okay, that's happening someday when my books reach millions of people, I'm going to hire a fancy video editor that's going to put these things in there. I probably could figure it out, like Marie Forleo, everything's figure-outable, right? I probably could. I could figure out how to edit my videos. I think I did it once upon a time. I don't have that kind of time or patience right now. I'd rather just give you the good, and you write it down. Okay, because if you want to change your life, you got to participate. You got to get off the sidelines of watching these videos and start to apply them into your own life. And that's what I hope. Yeah, do I want you to come and like, drink from the water fountain and be quenched, right? Yes, but I also want you to be enriched. I also want you to be nourished. And for you to really nourish, you've got to come to these videos prepared to actually go, man, I want to look at myself. The deeper dive is what's necessary in order to make real and lasting change in your life. You have to be a willing participant in your own healing, right? All right, so control issues. You try to manipulate or influence other people's thought, the way that people see you, perceive you, think about you, by convincing them or influencing them, which is a nicer way to say manipulate. I'm going to influence you. It's not manipulation. I'm just influencing. Okay. Influence people in how they think, feel, or behave. And then when they don't act in accordance with how you think they should, you get resentful that they're not behaving the way you want them to behave. Or if there's control issues and somebody else is doing that to you in your relationship. Number 1, control issues. Number 2, there's an element of perfectionism. That's another symptom, a sign it's not so normal, because you can't be imperfect. You don't allow yourself to make mistakes, or you hold other people to super high impossible standards, and everybody's like, I don't know, I'm never going to be good enough, because deep down within you, you don't feel good enough, and so you overcompensate for that with a level of perfectionism and then expect everybody else to be perfect too. You don't cut anybody no slack. No slack for nobody, all right? And so everybody's always falling short, including you. However, with this element, perfectionism, a lot of the time the judgment wall is so thick that we can't see our own inadequacies. So we're so busy looking about how everybody else is imperfect that we rarely have time to go, man, I guess that's the game I'm playing, right? We project it on other people. 3, people pleasing. Not really bad to want to please people. How does it go rogue or awry? Well, whenever you're pleasing at the sacrifice of your own needs, you find it's not cool to be you. So you need to be whoever you need to be in order to gain approval, acceptance, or avoid conflict. So you just morph and bend, and you're like Gumby. You're just like, it's like Coming to America. It's like, he sees the bride coming down and he's getting married. It's an arranged marriage. He's not really into it. And he pulls her aside. He's like, well, what kind of movies do you like? And she goes, whatever movies you like. Well, what kind of food do you like? Whatever food you like. And so we get into this space where we just try to be a chameleon. We don't even know who we are because we're whoever we need to be instead. Boom. Not so normal. Not so healthy. Withholding. You withhold affection, attention, approval, affirmation, emotion, not because it's not there. Sometimes we don't even know. We withhold it from ourselves as well, but you withhold it in a relationship or somebody's withholding it from you. Could be either side here, because you have trust issues at the end of the day and you think vulnerability is for the weak. Issue, not so normal. Okay, you want to grab a hold of that if you're seeing yourself. Number 5, there's any level of pretending. You're fine, you're not fine. You ain't fine, you're anything but fine. But you keep acting as if everything is status quo. Kind of like people are on you, around you, but you're just like, it's fine. You think it's magically going to get better. You're pretending everything's okay. Likely, you're self-medicating. If this is an issue for you, it's fine, fine, fine all day. And 5 o'clock, it ain't fine no more. We get a glass of wine, turns into a bottle. We're like, okay, it really is fine. Who are you trying to convince? Yourself. Clinging, number 6. Letting things unfold ain't your bag, okay? You think any kind of space or distance is a threat to your relationship or how people view you or see you or your importance. And so you go all in all the time, right away, really quickly, usually with the wrong people. And you want to be kind of enmeshed with them. And you think closeness and proximity equals a relationship. And so you just constantly are trying to make yourself seen and heard because you're afraid if you go too long without being around somebody, you're going to lose your value, they're going to dismiss you and forget about you, so you cling. Number 7 is fixing. If there's any level of fixing in your dynamic, you have caseloads instead of friendships. Your phone rings, you're on the phone for an hour and a half, listening to all the problems because you're the rock. But when you look around for other people, crickets, nobody's there for you. You actually don't know how to be in a relationship without being needed. And number 8, geez, Lily, you on a mission? That cat, something going on back there. Number 8, a victim mentality. Not to be confused with a true victim. Again, use that resource I mentioned earlier. If you're in an abusive relationship, go to the hotline.org. But what I'm talking about is a victim mentality where this is a not so normal behavior where you feel like I'll be okay if they change. I can't really do anything because my hands are tied because it's all their fault. So if they make the thing, then I'll be allowed to actually have what I want, the relationship that I want, because they're in control and I have no power here. Be gone. You have no power here, right? But that's what we think about ourselves. And so, wow, man, do you see yourself in one of these 8 different personality patterns? If you do, here's really good news. There's hope, because insight is the first step. Awareness is the first step to change. There are 3 steps to change that I believe that I've included in all my programs, all my retreats, and all the help I give. First, we got to know ourselves. We have to know who have we been behaving as. That's why I developed these 8 different patterns so that you could see yourself and get a real good grip. You sink your teeth into how you've been showing up in your relationships and take full responsibility for how you be in those relationships. So know yourself so that you can do number 2, which is be yourself. Who are you really without needing to be who you've been needing to be? What's your true authenticness, right? What do you really want? What do you really desire and deserve at the end of the day, right? And then love yourself. So know yourself so you can be yourself, so you can love yourself. And I actually have a systematic approach to loving yourself. I'm not talking about bath bombs and manicures, okay? There aren't enough bath bombs in the world to compensate for a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy. You can't manicure your way to self-love. You can't. That's self-care. That's nice. You get your hair did. But you could walk out of the salon still hating yourself. And so I give real, concrete, systematic approach to loving yourself because we all know if you don't love yourself the way that you deserve to be loved, ain't nobody else going to love you the way you deserve to be loved. And you really can't love others the way you need to love them unless you love yourself. And so hopefully that's helpful today. We're in Know Yourself today. My puppies are getting in on the action. If you see yourself and you want help and you want to deep dive and tackle this so that you can live your ultimate life, so that you can wake up and go, man, this is a life worth living, right? And now I get the point of all this. I'm born for happiness. I'm born for love. I deserve it. Head over to lovecoachheidi.com and let's talk. Until next time, see you really soon. Bye.